Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in to my YouTube channel. Today I'm gonna go over the Q&A that I ask you guys on Instagram and Facebook. So there are quite a few and I think it would take a while, so I categorize them. The first one is about resupply strategy. I did not have a really detailed resupply strategy. What I had is a Excel sheet that created by a fellow thru hiker. Her name is Megan. I'm going to upload it and so I can share with you. Is that she compares Halfway Anywhere, which is a really popular planning site, and I think Yogi's book, and then also her experience on the trail, and then the last column is what she would done differently if she thru hike again. So so what I did exactly is just follow her last column, which is what she would done differently if she thru hike. So for me, it has really detailed like the mileage of every resupply possible point on the PCT, and then what she have done, and then in those stretch she would have mileage on it, and I just carry that piece of paper with me, and if I don't carry that piece of paper, I always take a picture of that file and then keep that with me so that if I lost that paper, I can still do my resupply that way. Kind of just give you the name of the resupply point that you will be sending boxes to or buy food in town and things like that. So I would download Halfmile's PDF file for resupply, and also I will make sure that the shipping address is correct. First box that I sent to in Warren Spring, and then from there, majority of the South California, I would buy food in town. So you can see that in the detail files, but that's the main idea. Sierra, you send boxes. Washington, majority you send boxes, and Oregon you can buy food in town. So that's the main strategy for me. For the ones that I ship boxes to, I buy food in town, in the town that I know there's a lot of resupply available, and I ship ahead of time. So for example, in Ashland, I spend the entire day working on purchase the food and also shipping the boxes to all Oregon and Washington. So it's a lot of work while you're doing in trail, but I found that it's good, a good strategy if you can't find anyone, or you don't want to ask anyone for food resupply help at home. I found this easier for me. I can know exactly what I want. I can ship exactly what I want, and sometimes you can get sick of the food that you're receiving if you buy it ahead of time. So that's my thought in shipping boxes. Is it possible to eat healthy on the trail and remain lightweight, or does everyone eventually eat crap, such as sweet stuff, candy, and heavily processed food? My opinion on healthy foods is that everything you take on the trail in terms of lightweight and healthy, even their healthier options, it's going to be processed. Everything is processed. So the thing is, you need to just kind of trade off, I guess, what you are willing to carry and what you are willing to eat. For me, I ship boxes from the trail, so a lot of time in the towns they don't really have a lot of the healthy option available. Even natural healthy option bars or whatever, to me it costs more, and also the calorie density is not as good, and I got sick of Cliff bars. So at the end of the day, I eat a lot of candy. I eat M&Ms. I eat Snickers and things like that. But towards the end, I'm really sick and tired of Snickers. Did you see any clever food hacks? Did you feel like eating sugary and processed food help or hinder your thru hike? Food hacks. One I found is ramen noodle, and you put peanut butter in it, and kind of like a few tablespoons. It makes the ramen taste so good. It tastes like pad thai, and then if you eat like any kind of meat with it, like tuna or bacon bits, it makes it really, really good. And then if you have sesame oil, that's even better. I don't find that sugary food hinder or help with my hike. I guess it's just calories. Sometimes I have craving, but the crave comes from being tired and burning lots of calorie. So I would eat peanut M&Ms or peanut butter M&Ms. This is like my to-go favorite. What is my favorite section of the trail? My favorite section is Gold Rocks in Washington. Because you are walking on the edge of the mountain, you see Rainier. It's just so beautiful. And then I really like Sierra. Every pass is beautiful. In early spring, it's wonderful. White, really beautiful. It's just silence. It's just all that. In the fall, it's really colorful, and I love it as well. And also sunrise and sunset in the desert. What did I do for medical insurance? I have bought a separate insurance from Travel Guard. It costs $400, but that's based on my condition and the quote and the option I got at the time. Thankfully, I didn't need to use any emergency medical. And how many zeros did I take? I am not sure how many zeros I took because I took so many. And I don't need to track of them because I complete my hike. I think I take probably between 30 to 35 zeros, I guess. Yeah, and some narrow along the way. The question is, what was my pace? And what's the opinion of my pace? Guesstimate that it's about 18 to 20 miles a day. A lot of times on the trail, when it's super beautiful, like the Gold Rocks, like in the Sierra in October, I actually wish I can slow down and enjoy it. I actually want to take on Trail Zero. So that's just my experience. How often were you hiking or camping solo versus with others? So for hiking solo versus with others, 99.9% I was hiking solo. And camping solo is probably 90%. He asked, did I cowboy camp much? No, I did not. So that's my cat, BB. She was sick when I first got back, and she's much better now. Anyway, how did you handle the river or creek fording, especially when you were solo? I mean, very carefully, of course, and don't fall. But in my mind, when I think crossing a river, you have to search. The key point is look upstream, and just look upstream, it's not enough. You have to find shallow area that you could cross, and you kind of test it out a little bit without the backpack and see if you can safely cross. I don't have a lot of dangerous river encounters because I do PCT water and fording report update. I feel that I have a sense of ownership to make sure that I provide the safest and the most correct information for the hikers behind me. If I can't cross the stream, I remember I would, at one crossing, I would wait, and I actually see people doing that crossing. So we were crossing 4 people in a row, and I was the last one because if that's the stream facing me, the big guy would be in the front, and the second guy and the third guy and would be me. And I guess I call it the caterpillar style. And I also want to say, if you are not comfortable with crossing a stream, always don't be hesitant to turn back. What was the one thing that you took for comfort or wish you took for comfort? Everything I carry, I use them, but at times I do miss my camp shoe. You want to take a shower in town. It's kind of uncomfortable to put on your dirty hiking shoes and walking around. How did I plan for this trip? In general, I just go with the flow, kind of wing it as I go. As I said, my resupply strategy is really simple. Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of flip-flops, like 8 times. So if I had to go back to where I stop, I would hitch a ride, ask Trail Angels on Facebook, and if I couldn't get a ride, I'll just hitch as I go, just thumbs up, you know. Did you ever encounter wild animals? I did. I encountered two bears, and they're really far away from me. And I mean, they were so far away they don't even recognize me. I play music with the speaker on, so I guess the animal heard me and they walk away. I did encounter a few snakes, but rattlesnakes, a lot of time they just rattle and then they walk away. And in the desert, a lot of time I do not have music on, so I can hear rattlesnakes if they're coming near me. How did you manage the constant changing climates you encounter? I keep in mind on like, okay, Southern California is gonna be hot, warm. Sierra is gonna be cold, and Oregon is gonna be rain and mosquitoes and humid, and Washington is gonna be colder and rain. So with that idea in mind, when I do my flip-flop, I would know what gear I need, and I learn along the way. I have a pile of gear at home and at the corner, so my fiance can easy access to what he need to send me, and I also send stuff home, so back and forth and kind of get fine-tune exactly what I need. Knowing what you know now, are there any skills you wish you had more of before starting, especially given the high snow year, or do you feel everything can be learned on the trail? I did learn what's necessary on the trail. I learned self-arrest near after Kennedy Meadow. I learned map and compass navigation a little bit entering the Sierra. So, I am not recommending, but I did learn the skill I need on trail. Before the hike, they should have at least basic navigation skills and learn how tempo map works, and learn how to self-arrest. Those are really important stuff. What's the biggest tip you would give to a potential thru hiker that no one really tells you? It seems it's really hard before your hike to tell your boss, to tell your family, but in fact, it's not that difficult. It's hard to tell the loved ones because they might not understand, but once you commit yourself to the hike, it's not difficult. Is there anything you wish past two hikers would have told you before you did the trail, but hadn't? It's an adventure, it's a dream of a lot of people, but there's always next adventure in life once it's done. So be prepared for what's coming afterwards, because you may not go back to what it was, like job situation or living situation, but the PCT taught you to be a different person, to have a different perspective. So whatever comes after that at you, you would take care of that differently yourself. Is what it takes mentally and life situation wise for you to truly commit to hike the PCT. The idea of hiking the PCT comes from my fiance. He knows on weekends I will watch a lot of YouTube videos and some, like for example, a documentary As It Happened, talking about the freedom and things like that. It really touched me. So I would tell him about it, and he knows that I really interested doing the hike one day. So one day out of nowhere he suggests me to go, and I decided to take his offer. And for my life situation at the time, I had no debts. I don't have any student loans anymore. At that time, I think it's okay for me to go. Prior to the hike, I had been living a really simple life for over a year. So for me, I value time and experience much more once I have that minimalism lifestyle concept. So yeah, for me, it was okay to go. You flip-flop so much, which in my view took so much dedication, especially since you were out on the trail for over 6 months. How did you mentally do that? Did you ever feel like you wanted to quit, especially as the weather window was closing? For me, hiking the PCT this summer was now or never situation. So I have to finish it. I mean, there's no other way. I just want to finish it. I actually hardly have an idea that I would quit. No matter how much foot pain I have, no matter how hot it was in the desert and all that, I never wanted to quit. And also, the experience is so amazing. The views are so amazing. I never really wanted to quit. Also, the people I encounter, it's just a sense of adventure. You know, you hitch a ride to other places, you get to know people, you get to talk to people, you ask for help, and people are willing to help you. You just feel so warm from other people, warmness of their kindness from other people. So I mean, that kind of motivates me to keep going. And then there's only one moment that I wanted to quit, really towards the end, but it's more like a complaint and not like I wanted to quit. But it's just so cold that day in Tuolumne Meadow in October. It's probably like 10 degrees, and I was in a tarp shelter in Tuolumne Meadow, and my water bottle still freeze at night. So it was pretty cold, and in that situation I wanted to quit, but I know that if I were leave the trail that day, I know I would come back. I just know, because I was so close to be done. What did you tell yourself on hard days? Were you lonely while hiking alone? On a hard day, I would just eat the best meal I had and eat the best candy to motivate myself, and kind of look for what's coming the next day, and have a good night's sleep, and usually I'm okay. Yeah. And was I lonely? Yes, but rarely, really rarely. I always get distracted from the beauty I see. Like every corner I turn is so interesting, so beautiful, that I just enjoy the moment by myself. So, what would you have done differently, having learned from the experience? What would you tell your past self? I don't think I have anything I would like to do differently. I would not change a thing. Just the hike is so amazing. But maybe one thing is less flip-flops. So yeah, I hope I answer all your questions. And of course, you can leave me a comment or follow-up questions or any other questions.